Hey everyone, another episode of Wealthy Minds Decoded. Welcome, my name is Minesh Bindi.
And I'm Andy Shaw. Hello. Sorry, we've just been laughing about a friend of ours who's how do you put this in a nice possible way?
He lacks the testicular fortitude.
It's a case of the search for his
balls
goes on. And it's amazing how much this friend of ours, who will remain completely nameless,
and he's a friend, that's why we can
it's a case
his
of
testicular fortitude.
Despite having his partner having absolutely no business ability at all, it doesn't stop him looking to her for guidance. Violence, yeah. Anyway, so we've just been laughing about that.
So we've been having fun.
This goes back to my comment about opinion versus counsel. It's a case of, great. You could use it if it's counsel, but if it's opinion, it's not much good, right? So,
but I mean,
anyway.
That's not the funny part. It's just like every single situation. It just goes back to that. We might as well talk to her.
Actually, we should suggest
not a
that.
bad idea.
We should suggest, why don't you bring your
every
manager
time,
along?
Why don't you bring your
meeting, and then we can have a discussion, and it
would
somewhere.
actually go somewhere.
Yeah, instead of it going round and round in circles. Yes, that would be useful.
Right. Anyway,
now that we've finished bitching about a mate of ours who's
yeah, so we've got a good show planned for today. And yeah, first part, we're going to talk about what separates a wealthy mindset.
Oh, sorry, we forgot to introduce
our guest,
Mr. Harm. Mr.
Guest
Pete
director.
Harm is with us again.
Hello, Pete.
Good afternoon.
And so the first part of the show, let's get to it. What separates a wealthy mindset from a poor mindset? What are we talking about today, Pete?
Today we're going to cover forgiving others opposed to holding a grudge.
Interesting. Should we forgive our friend about his lack of testicular fortitude?
Okay. There's nothing to forgive there.
There's nothing to forgive.
Right,
really,
it's a case of you
it's unforgivable.
can't change something that's
just not there.
No, it is there.
It's just a lack of it.
Anyway, right. Okay. Forgiveness. If you're holding a grudge, it's preventing your progress. So your lack of forgiveness is basically holding you back from anything you want to do. Now, people hold a grudge for no reason at all, and they hold a grudge because basically their ego keeps it going in their mind, as if to say they have to hold a grudge, but you can choose to just not, because what benefit is it to you? Because if you just work on how to do something and getting what you want, then the grudge takes care of itself. You don't need to think about it. You don't need to, you can just let it go, because it's amazing. I used to, when I used to think about this sort of thing, I never really used to hold a grudge. I used to let things conspire to help me end up winning against that person. This was when I really didn't control my mind in the same way as I do now. But if you just
like yesterday.
Well, earlier this morning.
Yeah,
because obviously my mind gets better every day, mate. So the point is, you're able to, by letting go of it, you're able to just do what's needed to make things happen, rather than always looking to win back some ground you've lost. Because the person who caused you to do something against you, basically, they don't remember it. They're not really, Thanks, mate.
That helps.
That's a nice phone you've got there.
That's a nice phone, and this is a silence button.
Well done.
I just discovered it.
Yeah. So the point is,
that's good.
I've forgotten.
We always need one of those every few
helpful.
shows.
I don't know. I don't have a phone, mate.
No,
don't go there. Don't go there.
Okay then. I won't say it because it'll embarrass you too much.
Oh, really? Right. Anyway, where were we?
Right. I was going to say something because you're boring people. Right. So the problem with holding a grudge is what you're doing is you're internalizing someone's opinion of you. And what that means is you're internalizing, not only opinion, their expectation of you. Because by holding a grudge, what you're doing is saying, I have to respond and beat this person at this particular thing, which they have most probably set, otherwise you would have won, right? So you're playing to an expectation that somebody else is holding of you, and you're not going to get over it and through it and past it and start getting what you want because you're too busy worrying about what they want for you.
Forgiveness, it's a case of people say they forgive. When somebody says to you, yeah, I forgive you, But you know damn full well
They don't.
they haven't forgiven you at all.
Like, energetically.
Yeah, they're going to hold it back until you make the mistake again, or you do something else, and they're going to go, "You remember that time when you did that?"
I had this.
Yeah.
I can actually talk about a good example of this with somebody that we also mutually know that you met on a cruise one day and
Fair
had
enough.
the pleasure of knowing.
Yeah.
So, in my younger days, there was
Last week.
there was a person who hurt and degraded the confidence of somebody that I really cared about, who was starting out in business, and loads of other people as well. But this really got to me when it was somebody that I cared about. So me and a friend of mine went out in public and put this person's business career on hold for 6 months by opening our mouths when we shouldn't have, and expressing an opinion when we shouldn't have. Now this person obviously was holding on to this because it was like their career was on pause for 6 months, and
Which, if you haven't got a correct mindset, I can completely understand it.
yeah, they were just worried about me. I did the exact same. It was the flip side of what we're talking about. They were holding a grudge against me, and trying to live up to my expectation of what that situation was, right? So that's why they're trying to get me back. And then about a year and a half later, I took part in an event where this person wasn't to be involved or anything like that. And by the time the event came to fruition, it was a big event, by the time the event came to fruition, suddenly this person was involved. And he found an opportunity to
Stick the boat in.
royally screw me over by using somebody else to do it. And even though, I'd realized that I was, after our discussions, I'd realized that I was being a bit of an idiot and a kid anyway. So at the event, I went over and I said, how are you doing? Hope everything's okay. Put my hand out, shake his hand. And the first thing he said was, you didn't have to say that about me a year ago, you know that, or a year and a half ago. And that just proves he'd been holding that for a year and a half.
For what benefit?
For what benefit? While I had developed a whole, gone leaps and bounds beyond what we expected to do.
Anyway, the guy then carried on, and he actually was able to get one over on him completely. Yeah. And
which served me right. That was my karma.
Yeah.
Right.
So Manesh said, "What should I do?" And I said, "You should let it go. You should forgive him. Write a complete apology and give in." And he gave in. And because I said to him, I said, "You can fight this, and you could win. But if you just forgive him, you've got no energy going on to that."
It was literally to the point of a legal battle. It was verging onto that. And I think something that you said which really stuck with me was, you could take 20. It's going to cost you 20 days of effort to actually do this, plus £20,000 in lawyers' fees. I'm pretty sure you can make more money than you've lost in 20 days.
My business mentor used to say to me, he said, "I don't know. You've been in business at the time. This was like 13 years. You've been in business 13 years, and you haven't spent one day in court." He says, "I don't know another business that's done that. I don't know how you're doing it. It doesn't make any sense at all," because he says every business I know ends up going to court, and it's because we always looked at it and thought, well, let's just get along. Let's find a way of compromising. We literally learnt to not hold a grudge from a very, very early age in business. So to me, it's a case of, well, it's nothing. It's difference. It's usually, because I always look at it and go, well, it's going to be my fault. Because if I look at it from, it's going to be my fault.
You're in power now.
Then it's a case of, right, we can just move on then. Because if it's my fault, I can do something about it. If it's the other person's fault, I say, I think it's on my service page where people go for service. I say, look, I look at a business and I don't. You're right there, Pete.
No.
Right?
He's dying. Are you okay?
I look at it and think, well, the business, I don't scream and shout at a business that doesn't do a good service for me. I just vote with my feet and I walk away. And effectively, that's what you should do. There's no need. I'm not angry with a business that does me a poor service. I just don't go there again. There is no benefit for me in being angry with them, because all I'm looking for is, I don't want to be angry with them, because if I'm focused around being angry with them, then I'm holding back a part of my life. Yeah. Whereas if I could just let it go and I forgive, and I don't just, when I forgive somebody, it's a case of, I don't think, right, well, I'm going to forgive them now. I'm just going to let it go. So I can
get them back.
So I'm going to get it back later. But that's how I used to do it. Right? Now it's just a case of, it's gone.
It's really funny, actually, and it's amazing why that phone just rang right there to talk about this. because that phone call is actually about
That
something.
one that interrupted the show.
The one that just interrupted the show is actually just about that relationship that was screwed up with another person as a result of this person naturally coming back and trying to mend itself.
Yeah, because you'd let it go.
Because I've totally let it go.
Exactly.
That's really
so
funny.
it's a case of
I didn't know whether to say that or not.
yeah,
but...
because you'd let it go, and therefore it had healed itself by letting it go. That's the power of forgiveness.
And you just saw it live, like
Yeah.
that. You know, that's powerful.
Cool. Okay.
So that's the power of forgiveness over.
No, so yeah, all right. We haven't covered. So what you've got to do is you've got to look at what you've got going on, grudges you're holding, and look at them and go, are they giving me any value? Is there any value to you holding that grudge, or is there any harm in you holding that grudge? And if there's harm, it's a case of, well, is that helping you get to where you want to go? So, you know, you could look at it, and it's if you look at all successful people, all wealthy entrepreneurs and that sort of thing, their grudges are like, that's irrelevant. Some of them will think like I used to, well, if the opportunity comes up for me to stick it to him, I will do, right? But they won't hold it in their mind unless that opportunity comes up. And even doing it that way is holding them back in some way. So it's a case of most people just go, well, whatever, you know. And the maturity you get from being around in business for a lot longer, you basically, thanks Pete, the maturity you get is comes through when you've been doing it for long enough.
Yeah, I think that sums it up. Okay. Really nice. So part 2 of the show, what we want to discuss is what you can do once you have a success mindset.
So guys, I think
we're
it's
talking
about
about?
time we looked at covering the deeper, more fundamental implications of going to give.
Okay then.
That was a very
You like his dramatic
approach.
Yeah.
Well, I don't get much to say, so I like to get in there when I can.
Yeah. That's because you don't bring a lot to the party. Anyway.
You'll go, Sarah. You'll go further dice.
Right. Okay. So
we have an audience today. My daughter is watching the show as well. So
going
She
to
has been sick twice, but we're managing to keep the noise down.
right. Going to give in the deeper fundamentals. We've mentioned this so many times about going to give, and one of the things that people kept asking us was, "What can you talk about that? How does that actually work?" So we thought we'd discuss it today and give you the more in-depth spiritual fundamental side of why we believe in going to give rather than going to get. And I think we were having a discussion about this over lunch. When was it? It was 3 or 4 months back, I think, when we were talking about how wealth is created. Wealth can be created in the form of pure wealth, or wealth can be created in the form of debt. And when you go to give, you create wealth in the pure form of pure wealth. And when you go to get, like people have, over the last 5-6 years in property and things like that, with the purest intention to get, their wealth was created in the forms of debt, which resulted in the market collapsing on its face from a more spiritual point of view.
Yeah, you could, when you go to the higher levels up, you could be bang on.
Yeah. So you just gotta create. Going to give creates a pure wealth that can't be stopped. Whereas going to get, I think something that you said was you still owe for it. It's created in the form of debt because you still owe for it, and one day you will pay for it. And
absolutely,
that's my
your 2 penneth. Yeah?
My 2 rupees.
I mean, I've covered go to give again and again and again because it's a fundamental to me. It's like it's breathing in and out.
Yeah,
you just do that. I don't look at it from the get point of view. I build everything I do is about giving. Yeah, every business I create, I look at it from a pure point of giving. Right, okay, I'm going to give that. And once I've gone and looked at it and gone, well, that's a massive amount I've given there. Okay, well, what am I going to now get by giving all of that? Oh, you're going to get this. Oh, cool, that's fine. So at least that getting's taken care of. So I don't have. That's basically it. I don't have to really consider the getting anymore because as long as I do the getting takes care of itself. So most people are always trying to create success from what they're going to get, and so they spend all their time figuring out what they're going to get. Whereas all they're going to do is spend all their time on figuring out what to give. Yeah. And if they just go to give all the time, go to give more. There's a great one of the, I can't remember which, I think it was Jay Abraham said, great marketer. He says every day look for ways to give more to your clients and customers. Yeah, look for ways, and your prospective customers, look for ways to give more. If you do that every day, you'll find more ways to give. It's like how we came up with this. It was like, how can we create some more value? What are we going to get out of it? Oh, well, we're going to get together once a month. We're going to have a good time. We're going to do that sort of thing once a week, and whatever.
Just about to say drink champagne.
But we haven't got any champagne anymore. But the point is, it's a case of we get to have a great time. I mean, we've brainstormed together today, together with Pete, and we've come up with some really, really good insights. We just had a bit of lunch, and we came up with this. We were just chatting. Manesh recorded it, and we really went deep on a couple of subjects that helps both of our businesses. And if we weren't doing this, we wouldn't have done that.
Yep.
Yeah. So it was a case of both of us moved our businesses along, just thanks to the fact that we were sitting in the room together, chatting about something over lunch.
Yep.
So, it's a case of because we're going to give, we got
easily.
Yeah? Without effort, without trying, without looking, oh crumbs, I've got to solve this problem. No, the problem solved itself. We didn't even know it was a problem until it solved itself.
I think the other major fundamental is that you really want to go. You want to go to give with the expectation of already gotten.
Oh yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
You don't want to go to give. Oh no, but I'm going to
doubting you're going to get.
Yeah, or something like that.
As far as I'm concerned, you have to get yourself to a stage of going to give where it's so obvious, it becomes so obvious that you're getting is going to be automatic.
You just expect it.
The expectation.
I just expect good stuff to come my way.
Absolutely.
Whether it's, I don't know which form it's going to be in, but I just expect good stuff to come my way.
You're open to an always ever greater manifestation. You're open to, if you think, well, I'm going to get this, you're open to more. I mean, it always staggers me when it comes in, because I'm always surprised, I'm always grateful when it does. It's like, oh yeah, cool, that worked. But I didn't do it from a getting perspective. I went to give, and it's always give.
Yeah,
anyway,
it is. So we've got so the next part
is pretty difficult.
It's pretty difficult without our director,
who's just gone off to take a phone call, but he's back now.
He's back now.
Right.
So we're going to talk. This is the case study part where we're going to break down a mindset and get into what's holding it back and how to excel it, and make sure you start thinking about, can this relate to you? What parts of this can relate to you or not? So, Pete, what are we discussing?
Well, this week, guys, we've got a study of Mr. C's mindset.
All right, okay, cool.
So if you'd like to go over that with people, I'm sure they'd really appreciate hearing from you.
You start.
You want me to start? Okay, cool. So, Mr. C is somebody that we both know, and Mr. C is in a mindset where...
Oh, you've got to tell the story, right?
Okay.
Of Mr. C's position.
Okay.
Mr. C's position was born out of basically a very pure thought, and he just was inspired to do something, and he was broke at the time, or virtually broke at the time, and he took a chance, and because he just felt inspired to do it.
I mean, it's like, for example, say you're in a job and you suddenly receive an email into your inbox which says, drop everything and come and live with me in somewhere in Asia, if you're in the UK or whatever, somewhere on the other side of the world, and work on this opportunity with me.
It's all right, it's my daughter walking down. There's mirrors here.
There's mirrors there, right? So they can see you.
They'll be seeing you.
And Pete, that's good, actually.
It's good. That's good. You can sit down, where you walked in. Looking good there, mate, in your shorts. Nice. Anyway.
This is how we do things.
Sorry.
Me and Andy are both in shorts as well. You just can't see it.
Right, so what Mr. C did was he basically manifested a situation which enabled him to align with somebody in the top of the field, right at the top of their field, who'd already had enormous success. So he got to work with him on a very, very close basis, and this person
very close,
very, very close.
Every relationship that this person had, he would manage.
Mr. C, who was at the bottom of the pile, effectively went in straight with somebody at the top of the pile, and was able to, thanks to his relationship with him, basically end up getting connections to who's who. Basically, it was a fantastic connection. And when I spoke with him 2 years ago now, 2 and a bit years ago now, he said, this is amazing. I manifested this wonderful relationship, And it's a case of it grew and it grew. And now the person he was with, he carried on going to even higher levels. Now, Mr. C could have easily have stayed with him, because the person he was being mentored by, effectively, and working with, was quite willing to, take him with him. But because Mr. C his own, he's got a fear of success and that sort of thing.
And he's going to get.
Yeah, and he's going to get. He's looking at it from a purely get perspective, whereas instead of a give perspective, he basically had an issue with it, and for whatever reason decided to not go with him on this journey. Now, the person he's working with,
I mean, imagine Robert Kiyosaki the week before Rich Dad Poor Dad drops.
Yes, that's effectively what it is. It's a situation of that sort of level. So Mr. C could go with him, but because of his mindset, and I'm not certain of exactly why he opted for this. He just, but now what Mr. C is doing is a spiralling effect of basically going nowhere. He has got this idea and this idea and this idea and this idea.
And he's working with people that are also. It's really funny, actually, isn't it?
It is.
He went from working with somebody who had a great mindset to working with somebody who doesn't really have a great mindset on one of the projects that he's doing.
Yeah. And when that project doesn't go wrong, it won't be Mr. C's. It doesn't work. It won't be Mr. C's fault.
No,
it'll be whatever it is. Whereas the fact of the matter is, it is Mr. C's fault. It's a case of he's manifesting his current situation. He's going to manifest going back to where he was before he met the mentor. And what'll happen is, because as you age, your mindset carries on getting worse and worse and worse unless you maintain it daily. Or weekly at the least, sort of thing. So if you're not feeding your mind, the media, the world, your environment is feeding it for you. So it's a case of they're feeding it by accident, right? So you can feed it by accident, or you can feed it on purpose. So when he used his mindset before and he manifested, thank you, Pete, right? And he manifested what he wanted, i.e., the perfect mentor, the perfect business relationship. That'll be on the camera, mate. That'll be going out, right?
Did you see the look that he just gave? I don't give a shit. That was just brilliant. At least the people on the podcast now have a reason to go and watch the video.
Indeed. So what he's so what he's got is when he was at his younger age, he manifested this wonderful relationship. Now 6 or 7 years down the line, will his mindset be capable of manifesting another one of those relationships to dig him out of the hole he's going to dig himself into?
Because now he's also got the pile-on of the negative.
Exactly.
I failed.
Oh yeah, it didn't work. It's a case of because doing something today and doing something in a year's time, if you've done nothing to feed your mind, it's going to be harder to do in a year's time, even though you've learnt more, you've acquired more skills and that sort of thing.
Yep,
it won't work because it's a case of, and what
because
he's
your
doing,
expectation is not there.
So he didn't deal with his expectation of fully of being broke. What he should have done was he should have dealt with his issues and followed his the mentor to stratospheric levels.
Yep.
But he decided there's other options because he was looking at it from an employee mindset. Would you say that was the right way of looking at it?
He was looking at...
No, he was looking at it from the deserved... he deserved more and felt... wasn't getting amply rewarded, I would say. Is that a way of putting it?
No, I actually think it was an employee mindset with the... But I want to be the boss.
Yeah. Whereas a case of... it's...
but I want to be the boss. Yeah. But I'm not.
Yeah, it's like
I'm always living in. Yeah, it's jealousy. Yeah. That's what it is. So I think anyway.
Whereas that's the impression I always look at it. I remember my business mentor said to me once when we were very very young in business. We got our first business and our business was terminal. It got a cancer and it was going to die. And my business mentor said to me, he said, "Right, Andy, would you rather own 100% of your business or 1% of ICI?" 100% of my business, right? Because I was an idiot, right? Now it's a case of I'd rather own a really, really tiny piece of a massive pie where I had very, very little responsibilities, yeah. And but because when you own a tiny, tiny piece, people are worried about the jealousy, which is where his issue came in. And if you're considering that, you're holding yourself back again. Any of these negative thoughts are just going to hold you back, and until he learns to let that go.
The thing is, the problem with the jealousy is that he not only did he have a really great mentor, but now that mentor is now going to feel this tension start building up.
Yep.
So the mentor's not going to bother helping.
Exactly.
So now you're sitting in a position of not only do I have one of the best mentors that I could have for this, but he's not even helping me. So you've got further negative thoughts coming out of that. Compounding the negative thoughts. So it's a spiral that's crazy.
Anyway. That's a bit negative, isn't it?
It's very negative.
The upside is, if he could flick his mind around, and he's been given the connections to an endless supply. But the problem is, because he doesn't know what he wants out of life, he is basically spiraling around in circles. And until he figures out what he wants, he's going to go nowhere, and he's going to end up back on the bottom of the heap again. But if he actually went, right, okay, let's look at my assets. My assets are all of these list of people. Okay, what can I create a value for that list of people that they can then, I can get a reward back. And if he just looked at his assets, because his connection book now,
it's I mean, I would love to have that level of connection.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
not just knowing who that person is, but the in-depth relationship and the previous business that's been done.
Yeah, exactly. The work he's done on the previous business, he's got a great set of skills. But because he's decided that he wants more of the front of show, if you like, sort of thing.
No, it's not only the front of show. He's also decided that he wasn't. It's like he wasn't following his passion. And the problem with that is that people don't know what the hell their passion is.
Yeah.
And they say, I'm not following it, but how do you know? And that screws the rest of your life up.
But they, it's a case of, right, well, they think they know what the passion is.
Yeah.
But it's a case of, you've got to go, this is why I'm covering using a both free mind about how to find what that is. Yeah. It's a case of, I used the process on myself to discover what my passion was. Because it was there in front of me. I loved mindset. Right? But I hadn't actually put two and two together and realised that that's what I love doing. And that's what I could spend my life doing. And if I spent my life doing it and showing people how to decode what they're doing and basically fix what's wrong with themselves, then I would get rewarded amply by showing people how to go and create amazing wealth. That's about it, really.
Yeah, I think that's it. That was a pretty good episode. So, guys, remember to think about how we're not just here to entertain on a particular mindset, but figure out how that applies to you, and then take those lessons away. So remember, go to give, number one thing, and don't hold grudges because they're just not worth it. So subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast, share it with your friends. Hopefully you got some good value out of this if you go and take the application and go and apply it to your life. And we shall see you
next time.
Bye.
Thanks very much.
Bye.
Bye.